Not all Canon EF lenses are full-frame lenses. In fact, a lot of the ones you are seeing for $100 are not full-frame lenses at all when it comes to third-party lenses. For Canon lenses is very simple, to be honest with you. This one is an EFS crop frame lens. This one is an EF full frame lens. And as we can see here, the main difference here is that we have the flat part here, and then we have the bump up for the pins. We have here on the EFS lens, we have the flat part here, the bump up for the pins, and then this part that goes deeper into the camera, that is meant for crop frame cameras like this T5i here. Now that we know the basic difference with that, let's go ahead and compare this full frame lens from Canon to this crop frame lens from Tamron. And if we look at it here, oh, they're both flat. They both have the bump up for the pins. These both use an EF mount, but this is a crop sensor lens. Why doesn't it use the EFS standard that Canon provides? Simply put, it was easier to buy one mount for all the lenses than two different mounts for the two different lenses. So now we come to the interesting part. Let's go ahead and put these lenses on our cameras. Here we have an Canon 5D Mark III, a full frame censored camera, versus a T5i, a crop framed censored camera. We are now going to put the full frame lens onto the full frame camera, as well as put our crop sensor lens on our crop sensor Canon. Now that these are on here, we can see that the crop sensor lens, I'm going to put this one in video mode so it shows up on the display here, perfectly fine. We are going to take our full sensor camera with our full sensor lens, put it into display mode, and we can see that while blurry, because it's a 50mm close to the desk here, we can see that it looks perfectly fine. Now, let's go ahead and turn this off. Let's go ahead and swap our lenses. This is a crop sensor lens with a normal EF mount, not EFS. This is a full sensor lens with a normal EF mount. Putting these on the cameras, we can see here that with the full frame EF lens on the crop sensor camera, putting it in video mode so it shows up on the display, it looks perfectly fine, because the crop sensor EF cameras are compatible with both EF and EFS lenses. Now, let's go ahead, turn the full frame camera on with the crop sensor lens on it. And if we go into the digital view mode here, we can see we have this vignetting because the lens itself does not cover the entire 35mm full frame sensor. Now, why is this? Well, this is because, as I had said, Tamron, Sigma, and other brands use the same EF mount even if it is an EFS lens. For example, this EFS lens from Canon, who abides by the standard, will not physically fit onto the full frame camera because of that bump out. It physically will not fit into the camera, and even if it did, you wouldn't want to use it because then your mirror would slap against the EFS mount. But because Tamron and Sigma, this is another crop sensor lens, both use the normal EF standard, you can fit them onto your full frame camera and it'll do the vignette thing, but they will work. Now, the way to tell them apart on Sigma and Tamron here, so if we look here, no, here. DI, right, means that it is for the EF standard. The 2 here means that it is for a crop sensor body. So if it just says DI, it is for a full frame EF body. If it says DI2, it is for a EF crop sensor body. Somewhat same for this, except we are looking for DC. DC means it is for a Canon EF crop sensor body. If it says DG instead of DC, it is for a Canon EF full frame and crop frame body. Now, the question you may be asking, well, if Canon's crop sensor cameras can use both EF and EFS, ignoring the fact of if the EFS lens has an EF mount, is there any possible way for me to use an EFS lens that has an EF mount on my full frame camera? And the answer is kind of. I would highly recommend against it because you either have to go into post-processing, crop the image, which takes away pixels from your image, but crop it so that you are no longer seeing the vignetting, or you can do the other janky option, which I have come across and haven't seen have not seen other people show because it's not a good solution. The correct solution is to just buy an EF lens an EF full frame 35mm full frame lens to go onto your EF full frame camera. If you are just looking to get a lens to start with, get any Canon EF 50mm. You can find them for anywhere between $50 to $100. You know, it'll go on there, it'll work just fine, right? But I digress. Another thing you can do that I have come across and found that does physically work is you can take a 2x teleconverter. In this case, this is a Tamron MC7. You can take a 2F EF teleconverter. You can take your EFS crop sensor lens that has an EF mount. You can put it on there. And then you can take the EF teleconverter, put it on the camera, and if we turn it on, and then put it into the digital view mode, there is no longer that vignetting. We are using a crop sensor lens with an EF mount on an EF 2X teleconverter to get rid of the vignetting while maintaining our full 22 megapixels. The issue with this is using a teleconverter messes with everything. In this case, it's a 2x teleconverter, so it turns, as long as my math is correct, it might not be, please excuse me if I am, turns your 17 to 50 millimeter into a 24 to 100 millimeter because of the 2x zoom on the teleconverter. The teleconverter can also reduce the lowest aperture of your lens. For example, this one is 2.8 the whole way through the lens, but now that the teleconverter is on here, it could be something like 3.4 now, and you can't really tell what the aperture is now. The camera will report 2.8 because that's what the lens is telling it, but it might not actually be true, because adding this extra bit of glass here and length, it makes it a lot harder for the light to come through the lens. On top of that, you are now also taking a piece that adds more glass to the camera. So you are now also possibly reducing image quality. So you're reducing image quality, you're reducing your aperture, and you are also likely going to make your autofocus slower, if not disable it completely because it can't find the focus. Teleconverters are good for very specific applications. They are a very specific need. They are a nice tool to have, but only when you need to use that tool. Teleconverters, while a neat tool, will absolutely reduce everything about the quality of the photo that you are taking in one way or another. But it is a workaround if you already have one until you get a full frame lens, which, once more, get a 50mm, a Canon EF 50mm. 50 to $100, and it will work just fine. So yeah, that is it for this one. That is the differences between EF lenses, EFS lenses, and EFS lenses that have an EF mount. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys were able to take some advice away from this video, and hope you guys don't get burned by this like I did. As a novice, I had bought the 50D Mark III thinking that, oh, this is an EF lens. I don't see why that wouldn't work, only for it to get into your possession and realize that it's not going to work for you. But I digress. If you are looking to buy a camera somewhat similar to the 5D Mark III, that is still a crop frame DSLR, look at something like, let's say the 77D. 77D is still a crop frame camera. It still has this screen here that the T5i does not. And you can use all of your EF, EFS, and EFS lenses. But that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. Blah, blah, blah. Feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. And have a good day. I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good one, folks.